Welcome to How the Blank by What the Blank Entertainment, and this is
How the History Part 3. The modern boom.
Yeah.
The Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, the Industrial Revolution or the revolution of technology.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? It's weird to think about, like, movies and stuff is only, like, not even 200 years old yet.
It's not. No.
Yeah, like, it's only, I think, 150, you know?
But right now, it's the largest form of entertainment as far as money goes.
Yeah.
Grossing over $40 billion.
Yeah, and you can literally watch it anywhere now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it used to be so niche because you could only go see it in the movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then television came along and all that. But so kind of how this started, let's go from the theater side first, because this is kind of where the theater starts
Dying off
a little bit. Not fully. Yeah. I don't think theater will ever fully die.
No.
We're too stubborn. But it became less popular because
more modern conveniences had come around.
Yeah.
Even with silent film. And the use of technology expanded so quickly at this point where everybody had different technology, and even other forms of theater started expanding. Like the circus had become its own thing, and it was a wild spectacle that was seen as exotic for so long, and it kind of killed off the theatrical troupes that would travel around.
Yeah, and it, like, travel theater became circus. It became sideshow stuff. And it would be people showing off their weirdness, right? Yeah. Like the bearded lady, as everyone knows, and the dog man, and
the Braxton.
Yeah,
What?
Braxton.
I'm a sideshow attraction?
Yeah. Ugh.
Since when?
Since
That's why
today.
you're here, dude.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No,
We finally caught one.
but or like, it's kind of funny. Like there's
He is the bearded
there's
lady.
like the there's like the tattooed man, right? Nowadays,
Which now everybody's a tattooed man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everybody is nowadays.
Yeah. And so, like, it's kind of crazy how entertainment has evolved to that, right? Like how it got to that point where it's like, we want to see the weirdest crap we can get, you know, like.
And I think there still is like a spectacle for that. It's just kind of changing.
Yeah.
But it gave so much change so quickly that theater tried its best to keep up.
Yeah.
And it tried so hard to, in a way, compete and maintain its popularity with everything going on.
Yeah, so that's why they hired, like, technicians to do lighting, sound, even, like, set changes and stuff. Because, like, set changes didn't really happen as much in ancient theater, to be honest.
No.
You only changed the set when the act changed, usually, which was, like, a big thing, like, or like, a big scene. Nowadays, like, you can have the set change in the middle of a scene, and it changes everything, right? Like literally, they added so much to try to keep up with film and with the circus, and even with just like side performers and even telemarketers, right? Like people that went home to home selling things. They try to compete with them too, because they would put ads in playbills.
They would.
Do you
yeah.
remember that? Like,
Yeah.
like they would like put vacuum cleaner ads. That was like where the first commercials came from.
Yeah,
was in
it was
playbills.
playbills.
That's really interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. So like.
And now look what it's turned into.
Not everything's an ad.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't even walk anywhere without seeing an ad somewhere. It's
I
crazy.
don't know. You'll never find one here.
We should zoom in on the Kim Project. Just put the Kim Project or Todd up there. Anyway, back to it.
Why'd you clap? Like.
I don't know. I'll cut that.
Just Oppa!
Oh my god. All right.
But so technology really changed things, like the invention of the TV, invention of the camera, right? Because you could capture the everyday life, but you could also capture the artist, and you could also capture the fake, right? And so like the introducing of the camera changed everything.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, because it could show someone, like, because you could show someone all the way from Africa what someone looked like without an artist taking hours and hours and hours. It would only take 30 minutes, right, to like develop the film, right? And that change and using pixel technology, right, with TVs, because that's where TVs came from. It used pigment and technology, right?
Before they were using projection screens in the film.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And so as this evolved, it kind of changed entertainment to be more of a gathering thing again, right? It was a gathering before, but it was more of anyone could come at a time. But it kind of turned into everyone goes to one
centralized place,
one centralized place or one centralized thing. Like think of old TV show endings, right? Like Seinfeld and
for
Friends,
sure.
and all that. Everyone knew about that because it would happen at a certain time every day, right? And so like when something everyone had a huge like thing. It's like, oh, I have to go see this, and they talk to everyone. Oh, what was your thoughts on this? And it was kind of this community thing that grew TV and movies to be huge because
crazy fast.
Everyone talked about it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't talk about it, you weren't part of the community.
Yep.
Right? And so it kind of turned it to our society where everyone had to be a part of it. Right? Like, even if you didn't like a movie, you went and saw it. That's kind of how it used to be. Right? Yeah. And it was that way for a good long time. I'd say it was that way till at least the 90s, like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I don't think the film will ever really die down at this point.
It's just going to keep evolving. And now we have the VR things, too. It's just going to keep going and going and going. But, yeah, it's... Like, I remember my dad actually used to tell me about all the times that like he'd get done with school or something like that, and then he and his friends would actually go to a movie, like to the theater. I mean, people still do that now, but nowhere near as much as we used to.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they used to all gather with all their groups of friends, and they used to pay for the movie ticket, which was only a couple bucks back then. You know, and then you'd all go watch the movie at that same time, or the TV show, or whatever what was you were watching, and it was all at a very specific time that you could all go watch at this one place, and you would all meet up with all your friends, and that's what he would talk about, is like how that stuff was, and that was all in the 70s and 80s when film was booming. Crazy.
Well, and that was like the second boom.
Yeah.
Right? The first boom was the 40s, 50s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Still black and white.
Oh, yeah.
Right after World War II, where the extravagant era, right? Movies started 1918.
False.
Right?
Yeah. Silent films,
Silent films and stuff. And then they started adding words and stuff. But it wasn't until 30s, 40s, 50s that it was just huge. Especially the 40s and 50s. Like,
you could have it in your home.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there was Marilyn Monroe. That was just such an icon.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, everyone wanted to be her or sleep with her.
Well, really, like, when you think about it, that's like when the idea of a public icon became a thing.
Or like where celebrities really became a thing.
Elvis Presley in the 50s.
Yeah.
And he became big not just because of his music, but he was televised.
Oh, yeah. It was widely broadcast across the country and maybe even parts of the world if they allowed that. I don't know if that was actually a thing then.
So that's actually what Elvis started. Elvis was the very...
He did the worldwide broadcast?
Yeah, he was the very first one to broadcast himself all across the world.
That's why he became so popular at the time.
But he never left the United States.
That's crazy. I didn't even know about that.
Right? It was because of his manager. His manager stopped him.
They wouldn't let him.
Right? Because, so he was not a U.S. citizen.
Wait, what?
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
his manager wasn't.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, he, like, was kind of secretive about it. And so if he ever left the country, it would have made it so that he could pretty much never come back, and he'd lose everything.
Whoa.
So that's why he made it so, like, Elvis.
Would only tour in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and so, like, that's why he went to Hawaii so much, because it was something different.
But it was
right?
still America.
But it was still
it's-
America.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And what's interesting is we get these public figures that weren't kings, queens, war generals, right? These were the first ever, like, public celebrities.
Yeah, something outside of politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just regular people that turned into superheroes almost within a click of a button.
And it was because they kind of showed what real life was without you having to experience it yourself, right? Because they're like, oh, I loved your stuff because you made me feel alive, right? That was kind of their niche and stuff.
Wow.
Like, and think of also the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Huge.
Like, they had so many songs that were so dear to people's hearts, like Yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's a huge
Yesterday.
song. There's so many songs from the Beatles that are just like hit you in the heart, right?
Blackbird and
Yellow
Submarine.
Submarine.
Favorite song ever.
But and it was because they were able to connect with people all over the world.
Yeah, made it such a larger mass scale, and I mean, I guess that kind of came with the radio too, being like a huge
Yeah.
innovation for music. But
Well, and Elvis kind of made it so that kept evolving, right? Because he started off of radio stations, and then he went to TVs and made movies,
Yep.
right? He made over like 200 films, I think. It was I don't know if it was 200. It was a lot of films. Like, he made so many a year.
Yeah.
And then he kind of got burnt out, and then he did his famous Christmas one, where it's like where he dressed in that white suit to like say his political standings, right, about Vietnam and all the things. It was mainly when
I am not an expert speech giver.
Kennedy was killed and his brother and all that, right? It was kind of when all that happened.
Yeah.
And then the war happened right after that. So, like, so much happened in the music world and in entertainment world that actually went into politics at that time. Because it used to be where politics used to be all about the people making decisions and revolting and stuff. Now it's kind of where celebrities make these changes and everyone's like in an uproar.
Because it's that big connection that we were just talking about. It's that emotional grab that these people have on people, because it's that energy that they emit out to people, and it controls what people can say, or it controls what people think about. Because especially when you have such a mass amount of people watching or hearing what you say or do, like with worldwide broadcasting, it changes people's minds.
Yeah.
You know?
it's heavy influence.
Very heavy.
Well, and it's crazy how, like, the emotions change as generations change, right? Because there was, like, the doo-wop era, you know, where it was very, like, I love you, baby. Like kind of that feel where it was all love songs and stuff like that. And there was a lot of just kind of go with it type of feel, and like the birth of country and stuff like that, where it was just relaxing life, and then it got harsher and harsher as kind of the wars happened and stuff, like the birth of rock and roll, right, and then the birth of metal. And,
that was a big crazy boom for a lot of people.
And rock and roll was actually always going against what society thought.
Rebel against it.
and
Disobey.
and then it kind of got to a point where, oh, now rock is kind of normal.
Yeah.
So
And then hip hop
Do something else.
with
Yeah.
the exact same concept, but a
Yep.
new generation in a different way.
yeah. And then it kept evolving more to like
And
where
like pop, and now you've got your modern rock and like all sorts of random stuff that's happening, but it's all interesting to listen to and hear the history about it. It's just crazy how all those different genres evolved on their own. It's like it's interesting. That's another thing that we're gonna have to go deep into, but it's crazy how that's all changed over time.
even with like rap, right?
yeah.
It all came from like 5 guys.
Yeah.
And
a little
like-
record table that was built out of these old record things. It's crazy.
And they like just it kept trickling
Yeah.
down, and they kept finding people,
Yeah.
and they would give them opportunities. Like, I think it's kind of funny how it's kind of turned to that, where entertainment kind of feeds itself now, because it used to not. It used to have to.
It turned into like this giant machine.
Yeah.
Where it used to be just a thing that would happen like amongst families and kind of out through the community. But now it's like this monstrous thing with all these red tape and you have to do things a certain way or with certain
Yep.
people. And like it's turned into like such a complex thing that it doesn't have to be.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy though is you guys have you ever listened to that band Rage Against the Machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the exact same stuff that they used to talk about is go against the system, go against the machine. That was their big message to go with every song that they put out was go against the machine, rage against the machine. You know what I mean? It's crazy the way that it's all turned into. It's just a big complex machine now.
Yeah.
And people have been telling us go against this thing. Don't follow along with this thing because it's going to turn into some crazy wackadoodle maniac.
Well, and look at Disney now. Like, they own so many things, right?
Huge company.
And we're kind of going back into the monopoly era,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, we are.
But with entertainment,
Yep.
right? Like,
It's easy to control people
like,
with entertainment.
There was never a monopoly in entertainment beforehand, right? Besides, like, that one religious time.
Hey, remember that one summer we died under a table?
But it's never been so globalized before either. That's why it's so easy to control everyone and how we all think about certain things. And that's why it's easy to move people's feelings and emotions now. It's because it's so globalized and it's all over the place. You can't get away from it now.
It's all propaganda.
Yeah.
Like,
It really is.
Not like saying that it's all bad, because it's not.
It's not.
Right? But it is getting forth the people who are creating it,
Yes.
their viewpoints, their things. Like, okay, 10 years ago, do you think you'd ever see so many, like, gay couples on TV?
I mean, no, they wouldn't allow it.
No, of course not.
Like, and now look at it, every show has one.
Yeah, it's like every show on Netflix has that. Not that it's like a bad thing,
No,
but that's
it's-
just the way that it's changing now.
No.
Is that it's normalizing,
But
you know?
that's how you like show people the drastic change.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to put it that
Yeah.
up. Not that I'm against that.
No,
at
for
all.
sure.
It's just like they wouldn't let women on stage until
Yep.
like the 1500s.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
It's just
But it was
ideas
okay
change.
for 2 men to be on stage and a man
Yep.
portraying being loved and a woman dressed as a man.
Yep.
You know.
And they would kiss.
Yeah.
Right.
And
They
that's the
would,
thing now.
like-
And that's what they're doing now. They're just allowing what how do you say it? Like how society is changing over time. The same thing we just talked about. Entertainment is evolving with human society. And now that this is becoming normalized in society, this is now becoming normalized in entertainment because now it's such a widely known and widely thought about idea. Now everybody is like, okay, well, this is normal now. So they're putting it into everything that you see and hear and watch, and that's just what it is now because that's what entertainment does. It evolves along with society, you know?
See, and the thing is too, I kind of think of entertainment as like the clown mirror.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it takes what it wants with society and it like warps it to what it wants.
Yeah.
Right. Like, let's say the world is this short crazy person, right? And the world changes it to this like tall crazy person. You know, like,
so it goes from Braxton to Jackson.
yeah.
I got a good idea for that.
But it's just kind of crazy how everything has evolved and changed throughout the years. And, like, we'll go over this in another episode because I feel like we have a lot more to talk about.
Tons more.
With like, post-COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But before COVID, everything...
It was pretty great.
Yeah, no.
Everything was awesome before COVID hit, man.
It was actually really great.
Because it was... kind of a community thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Huge.
Everyone was communicatized, right? And it was before streaming or or even with TikTok,
You had to go out and buy those CD players and those MP3 players. That was cool, man. Like I remember going out to the record or the DVD store and the CD store because they a lot of times in DVD stores and movie stores they would also sell CDs in some of those. Yeah. And so I would go with my mom or dad and we would go to the DVD store and I would buy a whole stack of just random CDs and they were just random music. I didn't even know about it. And I had this big old freaking CD player back in like early 2000s, mid 2000s, before 2010 or 2008 when the iPod hit. This was before that. And I had this big old freaking honking CD player that I would put the CD in. No idea what kind of music it was. Press play, and it's either like Kenny Chesney or Shania Twain or some random singer like that. And I would just jam out to it. I had these big freaking headphones on and everything. I'd wear that on the bus every day going to school. That was the thing, man. That's what was cool. Being able to go experience going and buying that actual piece of music on a CD and holding that physical piece of music. And now you can't do that because it's all around you, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's all on the cloud.
It's making a comeback with the records.
Oh, yeah.
The vinyl.
Oh, yeah. The records are coming back, dude. It's crazy how much they are coming back.
Being in the music industry, like, you own vinyls.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Yep.
I don't think vinyls have truly ever gone away. It's just got less and less popular.
They're just evolving in a different way now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like
theater. Like theater was dying down before COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of coming back a little bit. It's kind of weird.
And it's because we're finding new ways and things, like with Hamilton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton changed theater because it took something that everyone knew, like history, and it made it something that America could understand without it feeling like it's boring. Right, it made history interesting again, and it made people realize the importance of it. Right, it took something important and made it important again.
Brought that back.
Right,
it was like rebuilding Americana as what we knew it from the 50s, and like bringing it back again for the first time.
Yep.
And people were proud to be Americans again.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like we lost that. With a lot of the stuff with the war in Iraq and stuff like that, because we felt like we were doing stuff that didn't need to be done. Yeah. Right? Kind of like with Vietnam and stuff like that. But then we realized, oh no, these freedoms are important. These things are important again. Why did I forget about them? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I think the reason why we forgot about them is because we were kind of brainwashed with the bad stuff.
Yeah. You know what? You know what's really interesting?
The negative side of media.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's really interesting though? Where I know we got to wrap up soon, but what's really interesting is humans are a species with amnesia. We always seem to forget about our past and our history and our ancestors because a lot of times if you don't know about that history, eventually generations that aren't told about that history are just going to forget. And then it's like it never happened. And a lot of people over time has just forgotten about that. And now we've gotten to that point where we've completely almost forgotten about a lot of our history. At least we just don't care about it anymore. And I'm not saying that like we don't care, because we do. It's important that you know about the history, about how your ancestor came about and how your entire generation has been growing up in this new era. But we're literally a species with amnesia because every single few generations, we eventually just kind of slowly forget about what happened back then. Yeah. And that's a big problem.
Or the sacrifices that happened. Yep. You know? And we still got like 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, cool.
But what we can do is kind of let's re-go over what we've learned.
Yeah, for sure.
Throughout like this, because like one thing that I think, reflecting on all three of these episodes, was the importance of connection.
Yep.
The importance of like understanding together.
Yep.
Right now with like TikTok and things, there's the algorithm, and everyone's algorithm is different.
Oh yeah.
And so we feel so disconnected.
Yep.
Right. And I hope media gets back to the connectedness,
the
again.
heart that it was supposed to be at. I
Yeah.
feel like we've fallen away from what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a big connection, like a community group where we're all allowed to post what we want and say what we want and be allowed to, you know, have these experiences with each other, but we're not doing that. We're all like isolating ourselves and watching our own For You pages, and, you know, and it's isolating to people, and it makes us awkward, and it makes us socially weird. You know what I mean? And one thing that I've learned for sure over these past couple episodes is communication, connection, energy, and entertainment are all very important when it comes to human connection and interaction. You need to have connection and you need to have energy with people in order to actually communicate and properly feel that energy with them. And you can't do that with today's technology anymore because we're so isolated from each other.
Yeah. It feels like we're moving away from like understanding each other, and and I think that's why there's so many things online that are so contradicting, where like everyone's yelling their heads off at
everyone's
each other.
arguing about everything now. You can't go anywhere without seeing an argument somewhere on the internet. It's impossible.
Yeah. And so like it's kind of crazy to think how like, even though we're in three separate kind of spots of the entertainment business, we've still connected because we found a common ground in entertainment, and we're actually connecting with each other, right? We're not just doing our own thing and not communicating with each other, because communication is such a huge thing.
Very much.
And the more we lose that, the more we'll lose society.
And the more disconnected we become from everyone else on this planet.
And that's why I think politics are going down too, because we're losing connection
really fast. Yeah, politics are just driving.
Like the entertainment is still growing, but it's becoming more individualized, and we're no longer using it as a community.
Yeah, because now you're seeing all the people on social media, they're using it for their own personal thing rather than, you know, using it to support communities or whatever. Because a lot of these like TikTok influencers and Instagram influencers, a lot of them are just about themselves. They don't give a crap about people or a community that they could create, or a lot of like these super ultra pop stars or rap stars or whatever. Most of it's just about them. And so it's more of an individualized and selfish kind of thing now, rather than bring it to the community and actually help everyone else, you know? So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Well, thanks for watching. This was How the History. Part 3. So, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, follow us. If you want to collab with us, please reach out. We love doing theater projects. We love making music. We love splicing music, even
whatever.
if you need that.
Whatever it is, just let us know. We'll help you.
Yeah.
We'll help you, and you can help us. That's how entertainment should work.
Yeah. Please connect with us. Please help us help you. And bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.